the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm in. We have the wrong meeting on roll call. Have to give us a minute to take care of some computer.
Sorry guys, my fault. Quick error.
Share one for the year.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Nice to get it over with.
Yep. So she got wheeled in and had to pick up that. Surgery though is really, it's really gonna like wreck the vision. I remember my mom got surgery like. And she had cataract or and better vision?
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry guys, you have to sign that again. Thank you, Tyler.
Really bad.
Oh. But you restore your power.
Tyler. We are. You are.
It does see the reorganization or description. But it says Thursday, April 13th, reorg.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Do we shut down and restart,
Yeah.
Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is everybody else good?
Okay. You guys need to shut down the software and reopen it.
We should start our meetings at 5:50 and then we'll go at 6. You have the power, Jay. You have the power. Okay, present. Everyone present. We're all good.
Oh, yeah, we gotta wait for Tom. Yeah, we wanna. For something with the fire department. We give him your paychecks or something.
Oh, that's. I just did for this.
All the water you can drink.
From the river.
All right. We good? Okay. Okay. All right. Software is working again. 6:10. We'll get the meeting going again. So the item 4 is reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on March 21st, 2023. What are your wishes? The
Make a
motion by,
motion to approve.
thank you. We have a motion by Bemke and seconded by Austin. Any additions, corrections? Okay, seeing none, please cast your ballots. Thank you. That motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on to mayor's recognition. So tonight was going to recognize Alderperson Evanson for her years of service on city council here from 21 to 23. We have a plaque for her, which we'll see that she gets. And I just want to thank her for your service. As we all know, it's not always a pleasurable experience putting your neck out and dealing with the things we get to deal with at times, but we appreciate her service, and Mr. Katnow will be taking her seat next meeting. So thank you. Moving on to item 6, consider for adoption the action of the standing committees of the Common Council. I'll use this one. Okay, Mayor's got the right agenda now. Okay, item 6, consider resolution rejecting the repurchase of a property on the West Side Industrial Park parcel number 3400751A, see attachment 2. Yes, please.
Okay, so yesterday morning I got a call from a title company, and they were kind of panicking about they were handling a purchase of some property in our West Side Industrial Park, and they had belatedly with a closing of tomorrow, and had belatedly noticed that there was a covenant. We have covenants in that park, which are quite old, but one of the covenants is that the city has the option to purchase property if it's being put for sale, or there's a bona fide purchaser that's going to purchase the property, that the city basically has an option to step in and purchase that property. It is somewhat arguable whether it would apply in this instance. This is basically a bunch of buildings and storage buildings, but not really selling the business, a business per se. And the covenant basically says, the covenant was basically to avoid selling developers or people buying the properties and then selling them to developers and making money on it. So it was more for vacant land, and not intended to stop a business from selling their property to necessarily another business or a developer. So in any event, to clean up the title, they're requesting that we basically reject the repurchase option we would have on that property. I would say it would be in the best interest of the city to do so, to have a purchaser that may, do something with that property. The formula of the repurchase is kind of convoluted, and as I said, it doesn't necessarily reflect that there would be buildings on it, but there is a way to figure out. We would have to pay for any improvements that were made from the beginning of when the property was purchased from us, which was probably 40, 50 years ago. and then there's interest, and but in any event, I think it's more to clean up the matter. I don't think we should exercise this option, and it's probably debatable whether what we could try to enforce this against the new purchaser, or the current owner and the new purchaser. So anyways, because we were having this meeting tonight, I said that we would put it on the agenda, and hopefully then they could proceed with their closing tomorrow if you are so inclined to accept the resolution. Does anyone have any questions? We did this about 3 or 4 years ago with the property also. I don't remember which. I think it was Air Communications property. So otherwise, I would request that the resolution be approved.
I'll make a motion to reject the purchase of property in the West Side Industrial Park, tax parcel number 3400751A.
Thank you. We have a motion by Austin, seconded by Bemke. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Now we're on to the consider for adoption the action of the standing committees. A is Finance and Property Committee meeting held on April 11th, 2023. Mr. Zacher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Finance and Property Committee met at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. All members of the Finance and Property Committee were present except Alderperson Veneman, who was excused. Item 1, call to order. Chairperson Zacher called meeting to order at 4 o'clock p.m. Item 2, review bid results for replacing the existing lighting control system at the Centralia Center and consider bid award. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to award the bid to Lutron Athena System at the Centralia Center to Current Technologies for $22,600. Motion carried 2-0. Item 3, review and consider for approval a change order for the replacement of the HVAC controls at Centralia Center. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to approve the change order for the replacement of the HVAC controls at the Centralia Center from Ron's Refrigeration for $28,776. Motion carried 2-0. Item 4, review bid results for replacing the roof at Centralia Center and consider bid award. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke, to award the bid to replace the roof at Centralia Center to Nick Michaels and Sons, Inc. for $489,202. Motion carried 2-0. Item 5, review bid results for Prairie Dog Glass exhibit work and consider bid award. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to award the bid for the Prairie Dog Glass exhibit to K&W Glass, Inc. for $35,780.52. Motion carried 2-0. Item 6, consider for approval a special events application from Wood County Human Services at 111 West Jackson Street for a Foster Family Appreciation Street Fair to be held on Thursday, May 18th at 2023 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Clerk note, the correct date was noted for Tuesday, May 16th, 2023, also from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke, to approve the special event application. Motion carried 2-0. Item 7, review and consider for approval the 2023 Humane Society contract. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to approve the 2023 Humane Society contract in the amount of $86,500. Motion carried 2-0. Review and consider, item 8, review and consider for approval policies for the mass transit grant. Committee considered each policy separately as follows. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke, to approve Title VI non-discrimination plan as presented. Motion carried 2-0. B, it was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to approve the federal awards policy as presented. Motion carried 2-0. And C, it was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke, to approve the protest policy as presented. Motion carried 2-0. Item 9, audit of bills, it was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to approve check numbers 16003 to 16679. Motion carried 2-0. Item 10, next meeting date, the next regular committee meeting is set for Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 at 4 p.m. And item 11, adjournment, was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher, to adjourn. Motion carried 2-0. And the meeting adjourned at 4:54 p.m. With that, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion by Zacher, second by Veneman. Mr. Pollak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item number 5, is that the correct figure, the 35,000+? Was at the meeting, and I asked I made some comment about it, and the comment was made that it actually was cut in half. Is that correct? Or
No.
is this the correct figure?
I think what we were talking about, Dennis, was this was $35,000 was half of the project. So Park and Rec gave us the okay to spend $70,000 on the Prairie Dog thing, so the glass was about half of the project.
Okay, so when you were, okay, then I misunderstood it then. So it
Yep.
actually is it more than?
No, it'll end up being less than 35.
Okay,
That was on the high end.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rayom.
On number 8C, I guess, what is that? Did I miss something? The protest policy.
Basically what that policy is it's a policy we have in hand, so when we go through the procurement process for our 5-year operating contract for our mass transit program, that being the cab service that the city provides, this is a policy that provides a mechanism for if someone thought that throughout the process that they were treated unfairly or, it was not a proper bid. This policy gives them the procedure of how to file a complaint about that, and then also what the city has to go through to evaluate that complaint.
So is this a brand-new policy?
Yes. Basically, what we're doing is we're going through our policies, working with the state, because probably in June or July, we'll start the process of going out for bid for a new 5-year contract. So we're getting all the policies in place. And from the last time, 5 years ago, when we did this, these are new policies that are required by either the federal government or the state government, who funds the majority of the program through a grant.
We don't have a copy of that, do we? Is it? Okay, that's why I guess I missed it. I guess I didn't realize what it was. Okay. And number 6. For a special event, street fair, what's that all going to entertain or what? I know it has the address of 111. Is that where this is taking place?
So the special event app is also in the packet, and if you don't have it, I'll give you a copy. This will be
Okay,
Yeah, that's the address of Wood County Human Services,
yeah.
not the address where it's going to happen. It'll be First Avenue South between West Grand Avenue and the Tribune Building, basically where they set up the farmer's market.
Yep.
So it'll be there.
Yeah.
Mr. Bemke.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to hold out on item number 7, please.
Everyone good with that? Okay. And Mr. Lee.
I have a question on number 4, being that this is such a large amount. Is there a warranty with this new roof that is being provided by the company?
I believe, I think it came with a 15-year warranty for the roof material, right, Joe?
Yeah, I was just going to look it up here. I believe it was 15-year. Initially, we were looking at a 20, but a 15-year is what was in the contract.
And my other question was, okay, so it's a flat roof, obviously. It's a pretty big building, but has anybody looked at doing some sort of pitched roof on the Lowell Center so that, and if so, has anybody provided any estimates as to what that would cost?
Not to my knowledge. I know that the roof is tapered off to the north and south because that's where the drains are. I don't think it's ever been an issue of water sitting up there. It just, when it does sit up there, if it does, it just leaks through like the skylights and just areas of the roof where it's cracked. But I don't think we ever got any estimates on a tapered roof. I think that'd probably double the price.
Is your microphone on, Jake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions? Okay, we have a motion second on the finance report, holding out item 7. Please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. Mr. Bemke, item 7.
Thank you. There's representatives from the Humane Society here tonight. I'd like to recognize them if they'd like to get up and speak, please.
Is your microphone on? Just a green light on the bottom. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Madison. I'm the Executive Director at the Southwood County Humane Society.
My name is Christy Bossert. I'm the board president.
So I did bring the 2023 budget, or the 2022 budget, if anyone would like copies of that.
I would.
Yep. Got it. That's awesome.
Do you have enough to pass them out, or?
I only have 5 copies.
Okay. We can make some copies.
Okay.
Probably should make one for everybody. We'll take a copy pause. Okay. We can continue on, and the clerk's going to make more copies.
I think so.
Fill with that air tank. I won't either. Thanks, man. Oh. Holler.
Okay, so with the Southwood County Humane Society contract, we were requesting a $10,000 increase. The biggest reason for this is the fact of our vet expenses are going up. When we were looking at the numbers, we last year had serviced 285 stray animals for the city of Wisconsin Rapids. We did also pull the numbers from the rest of our county as well, and that was only 180 animals for the rest of the county. So we are looking about 70% of the strays that do come from all over the municipalities are coming from the city of Wisconsin Rapids. The biggest thing with that as well is our vet expenses of where we were originally budgeting, with us being a quarter of the year through. We are already over our estimated budget of what we were expecting.
Does anyone have any questions for him? Okay, go ahead.
So I think the other night you told us you have 26 municipalities. Have you approached these other groups for more? Could you maybe explain to everybody how this works?
Yeah.
We pay the lump sum and how the rest of it works?
Yeah, so because the city of Wisconsin Rapids, we also have town of Grand Rapids and town of Saratoga that pay a lump sum amount. The rest of our municipalities, because we only receive between 5 to 10 strays for most of them, just pay per animal that come in. In past, we looked at our numbers, and we did have to make increases this year on our other municipalities, where we did go up 15% with our other municipalities. We are also planning on making another increase at the end of this year for the other municipalities as well, where the city of Wisconsin Rapids, with this increase, we would not be requesting another one.
Thank you.
Good.
When you bring it in from an animal from another municipality, what is that price per animal?
Right now, it is sitting at, if we are picking up the animal, it is sitting at $92. If we have the police department drop off or somebody else were to bring the animal to us, it is $63.
Okay, so if you would take our portion, the 86,500 divided by the 285 animals that was produced by our citizens, that's over $300 per animal. So why is it less for a different municipality than it is for our own citizens here?
The biggest thing that we noticed is, with me being with the Humane Society for the last 2 years, we have not made increases on a lot of our contracts for 14 years. It was something that, since 2014. So since I've started, it was something that I wanted to at least do a 15% increase at this time, just so that we weren't scaring it. And then it's something that at the end of next year, we will be doing another jump. It was just something we didn't want to make a very drastic change at one point, but it is something that we are going to be increasing the other municipalities as well.
And you know what, you're going to be increasing them too?
Yeah, they will be increasing higher.
Do you know that number, what that number is?
We were looking to do another 10% increase at the end of the year for them.
That's still quite a difference between $300 for our animals as compared to
Yep.
less than 100.
And for the city of Wisconsin Rapids, we also do provide more services than we do for the other municipalities. We do pet exemptions with the city with Ray Starks, and then we also are in charge of handling a lot of the bike quarantines. Most of our bike quarantines do come out of the city of Wisconsin Rapids. They don't come out of the rest of our municipalities. So we do provide a little bit more of the services for city of Rapids compared to other municipalities.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I guess what are your wishes? You guys have anything else to add? Okay. How many pet exemptions do you do a year?
I believe we said about 25 to 50 a year.
And about how many bike quarantines?
So last year we had 13 bike quarantines. They have been going up over the years. We used to only do about 5 of them a year, and they've been going up within that time period. We're also in the process of doing the rabies protocol for the county as well, trying to adjust that. And with our kennels that we have, it's not always the safest, so we can really only have 1 bike quarantine at a time. So that's the other little struggle we have with that.
And a bike quarantine, you have to quarantine them for a number of days, if I recall, correct?
Yep, bite quarantines are 10 days from the day that they bit. We have to provide 3 vet checks as well during those bite quarantines. The vets in the area have been very hard to work with as well, trying to get them into the vet because they have their clients to deal with as well. So trying to get them to a vet for all 3 checks has been quite a difficult thing. But they do have to sit the full 10 days, and if they can't get a rabies vaccine on the 10th day, they have to sit with us until they are able to get that rabies vaccine.
Thank you. Mr. Zacher?
Could you explain a little bit about, you had talked about pup this last year, I think, that basically had a $6,000 bill because of issues that it was facing?
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking is because you're asking for a $10,000 increase, and that, so I'm not saying that happens all the time, but that's a little bit tough to swallow.
No, understandable. So we had a dog that came in November that ended up being a very big medical case. It was a surrender. We did luckily have all of those costs covered by donations with the animal that came in, but it was a $7,000 dog. She spent 6 months with us, and it was a very long process with that. But we do have medical cases that do pop up similar to that. It's not every single month we're taking in a dog that costs that much, but it is a situation that we do occasionally get in animals that are going to be more expensive than what the average cost of an animal is. So we'll intake an animal. The goal is to spay and neuter, vaccinate, and microchip them. Sometimes animals are going to cost more than that. Sometimes they need an amputation. Sometimes they're going to need extra medical expenses. The goal is to try to keep them out of the shelter as we can. It's only supposed to be couple days in, get them altered and get them adapted, but it's one of those things that sometimes we do have animals that do stay longer than that.
And I guess since I'm on it, and I'm just going to go ahead and ask the tough question. When do you make the call, or how is that made in terms of financially? This is not worth it?
Yeah,
versus-
definitely. We have to, because we do not have a vet on staff, we have to kind of go based off of what the vets tell us. We obviously, if the quality of life is deteriorating, it's not going well, we are able to make that decision. I do have a certified vet tech on my staff as well who is able to make those decisions. This was one where we immediately took up to the emergency vet clinic, and it was one that we didn't really have that call once we brought it to the vet clinic. They were like, you know, this is something we can support. This is something that quality of life we don't think is gone at that point, and it was something we were going to give it a couple of days. If quality of life was not improving at that point, then we were planning on euthanizing.
So the decision, correct me if I'm wrong, the decision kind of comes more based on the decision of, it's not based on financial, it's based on if the animal has
It's
life
a
left.
mixture of both. So we do still take in that financial accord as well. But this was one dog that we had decided we weren't expecting it to be this big of a cost, but it was something that we were 2 months in and then the expenses started to hit. So it wasn't necessarily the, oh my goodness, this is right off the bat, we need to make this decision. This was more of a situation that the expenses started to occur over time.
So if we didn't approve the $10,000 more, would those decisions have to be made? It would be, it would be
Yeah.
harder to make those decisions?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for the work that you guys do. Appreciate
you.
it.
Mr. Bemke.
Thank you. Just to clear it up, you said you're requesting this increase now, and more than likely at the end of the year, or through our next budget cycle, you'll be requesting again.
We will not be requesting.
Okay, I guess the only comment I'm gonna make is, you've given us the numbers tonight, but it just seems that the residents of Rapids are kind of subsidizing the rest of your organizations. I might be wrong about that, but, it just seems like we're taking the lion's share of this, and I'm struggling with it a little bit, I'll be honest, so, thank you.
Can I comment on that, please?
Please.
I completely understand. We're looking at our books right now. We're definitely trying to take everything into consideration. But when we look at the whole picture of the staffing, the building maintenance, plus driving, gas, vehicle maintenance, the on-call program that we have going on, all the animals that come in, we're giving an average right now to try and verify how much, because, you know, some need to be spayed, some don't need to be spayed. You're providing about 20% of our operating budget. And we take in about 1/3 animals from Wisconsin Rapids. So looking at the numbers, we're looking at about a 10% increase over this time. As she has stated, our vet costs have gone through the roof. That is something that we're even struggling with right now and have been looking into different ways to make that work. So, you know, we want to present this now and saying we are struggling with this, we are doing this, we are looking at the numbers, we're looking that we need this from you guys to help subsidize what we're doing for your county or for the city. And then we are definitely looking at each individual municipality as well and saying, you know what, our costs have gone up, we raised it more, we'll probably have to raise it again. So yes, we are looking at that closer, more than ever now.
Mr. Zacher.
Tim, in terms of financing, we're looking at this being for this year. So where would the money come from?
Correct. Well, we have 76,500 budgeted for this item, so then the 10,000, if it was approved tonight, would be part of a budget amendment.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Delaney.
Okay, so the humane societies, there's humane societies around the country, across the country. Is this a common thing, or like does every single humane society contract with the city that they're closest to? Like, is this a real common thing? You're a nonprofit organization, correct?
Yep.
is this a common thing? That's my first question.
Yes, unless the city runs the Humane Society. So if it was a city-run Humane Society, they would not have that contract, but because we are a nonprofit, a lot of the nonprofit Humane Societies that are not run through the city do have contracts with their municipalities.
And my other question was, could we just go by a per animal, like the other places do? Come up with a cost for the quarantine, come up with the services that we use, and come up with a cost of it. I know that there is additional cost of having your building and having staff and insurance and stuff like that. I understand that. But is there a way that you could, like, put everything up so that we are paying the same as the other citizens of other municipalities?
It is something we can consider. I mean,
Yeah.
other places do that because they have a limited amount of animals that come in. But a lot of times what we're seeing is when we just did the average, including your bite quarantines, your hoarding and all, you know, the breakdown, the minimum we came up with 88,000 almost for Wisconsin Rapids, when we just did an average. Now, that's not per diem or, you know, taking it, you know, one animal at a time. So we kind of give you unlimited access. You know, we're expecting about 360 from the city of Wisconsin Rapids, just because of the increase that we've seen in the past years. It could be up to 400, 450, and we would have to accept that in this contract as, you know, as a, whereas with our Saratoga, if I'm speaking correctly, is they capped it. They do a flat fee, but if we go above their number, a number, we have to call them for each approval of each surrender and okay that charge beyond that. So there's limitations and there's doing that, but we could definitely try and figure out something if that is where you want to go.
So you went to 360, but last year you had 285. What was
Total, she had 334, and that's counting seized animals in custody.
So when I did the numbers for 2022, for strays, we had the 285, but bite quarantines, we had 13 for City of Wisconsin Rapids. Seized custody, hoarding cases, owner jailed with 36 animals, so total was 334 for the City of Wisconsin Rapids. Surrenders is not included in that number.
Yeah. And we don't include surrenders in that number as well, which we, the person does pay a fee for the surrender. It does not cover the cost of what that animal costs to bring in. We find that most will not bring them in if we raise that fee.
And if we raise that fee, the other problem is we end up with more animals dumped. We've noticed that if we were to increase that surrender fee, will notice more people will dump them, which then comes to an extra charge to those municipalities as well.
So if a municipality turns you down, what do you do with the animal then?
It's their responsibility. So if
Oh,
the
so-
municipality, per Wisconsin law, is if they are not contracted with a humane society or a stray holding facility, the town officials are responsible for holding those animals.
So if you called Saratoga and they said, nope, you exceed our cap, then the Saratoga would have to take care of it?
They would need to figure out what
Okay.
they're doing with the animal, yes.
Sounds good. I just don't want you to get stuck with it and then.
No. We have quite a few of our municipalities that do not they will not allow us to take in cats at all. So they have different restrictions on what we're allowed to take in and what we're not allowed to take in. And some of them, we have to call them for every animal that is approved. So they have to give us that approval. If it's an animal that is called and they're like, nope, we're not approving this animal, it's their responsibility then to handle the stray animal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you came up with the 334, but what you based your $88,000 off from was 360, is that correct?
Based it off the 285 strays.
Yes, I based it off the 285 strays.
And bite quarantines and hoarding. So, no, all three of them, because I added these two together.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yes, so I did all of the 334.
I don't know.
Okay, so you didn't come up with a different number than what was from last year? Because it sounded like you said 360.
That's what I'm predicting for this year.
2023.
2023.
That's what we're
year.
predicting of how many animals that we service for the City of Wisconsin Rapids based off of the fact that 2020 we had 260. 2021, we had 302. Right now, we're sitting for 2022 of 334. So for 2023, that was what we were expecting for animals to come in.
I'm just going to reiterate what Matt Zacher had said, that you guys do it's a invaluable service to the city. I just think that it could be a little more fair between municipalities, and if there was a way that we could kind of pool, so just that the citizens of Wisconsin Rapids aren't paying more and taken advantage of in some
Completely
way.
understandable.
Mr. Bemke.
So when you quarantine these for bites, obviously the dog's got an owner. Do they incur some expense on this?
So owners are responsible for paying the bite quarantines, which is a $300 bite quarantine. We do get bite quarantines that are strays, so there are plenty of times where I will take in animals that bit somebody on the street. There is no owner. No owner comes forward for those animals while they're in our custody as well. Last week alone, I had 3 of those. They all bit people, and they all sat in my care. Nobody came and picked them up. So that was an expense that we had to incur for that.
Thanks.
Mr. Pollak.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. If you're asking $10,000 from the city, what's the total amount that, for your whole budget, that you're collecting from the rest of the communities that you service? I mean, what's the total that you need? You need more than $10,000, I'm assuming.
Yes, I think, if I'm thinking correctly, our other municipalities are much smaller than Wisconsin Rapids City, but yet they make up, I think, total, is it about 20% of our operating budget?
Yeah.
Total. I'm trying to do the numbers in my head as I'm standing here, I apologize. So yes, and that does need to be increased as far as other municipalities coming. We needed about probably 40% of our operating budget to be covered by it because strays are so much. But we are slowly getting there. We're just taking little bits at a time, trying to figure out where the most cause is coming from.
When you say slowly getting it, have you approached other communities?
We did raise
I mean-
everybody this last time that we went through the
15%.
contracts, and we are proposing another rate increase for them for this coming year, which we will not do for Wisconsin Rapids, City of Wisconsin Rapids.
Thank you.
Mr. Zacher.
Just a quick clarification. Did I understand you said we provide 24% of the budget, but we have 31% of the animals? Is that kind of
About that, yes, on an average, yeah. I'm looking, I thought it was about 21% of our outlook for our budget of the 413. But we, about 33% of the animals comes from Wisconsin Rapids.
I think you did that backwards.
Did I do it backwards?
You did it backwards. That's the 33%. That's their number.
Okay.
So they would be the 66%.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm saying that backwards, I guess.
Yes, you guys would have the 66% of it. The other 33% comes from the rest of the municipalities for strays.
I was talking animals overall.
of the animals?
Overall, oh, yes.
Over all the animals brought in throughout the year, about 33% are from the city of Wisconsin Rapids. And that includes surrenders, strays, anything that comes through the door.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. No, you're
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to just point out that, I mean, whether to give them an additional 10,000 or not, I guess I'm not sure, but I know that they do help us out in other ways. As they said, it's pretty much, they kind of have to do everything in here, no matter how many, like, we've been involved in dangerous animal trials where they've testified or helped out. The pet exemption process is probably at least an hour of your time for each one, if not more. I mean, you go visit the home and you fill out the forms and so on. So, there are other instances that I've talked with the Humane Society or the Humane Officer, actually. So, I mean, they are kind of handling everything for us, and if you go to kind of more of an à la carte thing, I'm not sure if we're going to come out farther ahead or not, but, you know, it's a great service, and I think, you know, I've been happy with my contacts with them and the services that they can provide. And it's nice to be able to have them there and not think about, you know, the money necessarily, because I remember going to, I think we were at a Town of Siegel meeting or with some Siegel people, and they were talking about their, I think it was Siegel, that, you know, they get the calls about the strays and they just can decide, well, what's the budget? No, we can't. And then, like, what happens? I don't think they're going out and doing anything then. And it's like a budget thing where they have to keep thinking, oh, this is going to cost this amount of money. Is it worth it to do it or not, or whatever? So, but I would just compliment them on what they do, and thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Delaney.
Just have a question for Tim. Obviously, these animals, they start out as pets by the residents of Wisconsin Rapids. Do you know what the pet license is and how much that is? And does any of that come or go back to the Humane Society? Because eventually that's where the animals are going to end up anyway.
Right, yeah, the pet licenses are pretty nominal, but I think it's like, is it $3 for spade and $8 for non-spade? And, but that gets turned over to the county, and I think that money goes to fund some of the humane officer. We get a little bit back from administration for issuing the tags, but it's in the hundreds of dollars for what we get back, but most of that license money goes to the county.
Would there be any way to increase the pet license fee? And
No, I think that's set by state law, actually. I'm pretty positive of that.
Thank you.
Good, Mr. Pemke.
I think you mentioned the other night that the county does contribute something, but can you tell us what that is again?
Yeah, so the county, we do have a contract that was years and years old. We did try to look to revise that, but it is the $2,500 we do receive, and the rest of the money from the pet licensing goes to pay the humane officer. That $2,500 pretty much covers our bite quarantines that don't get paid, but again, that's something that it doesn't fully cover the full cost of it.
So you get $2,500 from the county, and does that include the registration money, or is that separate?
Separate, I think. We don't handle anything that has to do with like the pet licensing part of it.
So you get a check for $2,500 from the county, that's it?
Yeah,
So,
and that money goes towards paying the bite quarantines that people do not pay throughout the year.
okay, but there's nothing separate that comes from, I don't know if everybody has to have their dogs registered in their cities or whatever, but it's $2,500 from the county, and that's it.
Mhm.
So we're subsidizing that as well through registration. Correct, Tim? More than likely?
Subsidizing the,
Well, if they're getting $2,500 from the county and our money is going to the county from the registration,
right, and I think that, like I said, I think they probably use that to fund the humane officer and whatever that.
well, they know it. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Zacher. Did you make a motion?
I'm making a motion to approve the 2023 Humane Society contract in the amount of $86,500.
We have a motion by Zacher, seconded by Austin. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 5 ayes with 2 nays. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right. We are on to, find my agenda here. Public Works, meeting held April 13. Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Mayor Blazer. Public Works Committee met on Thursday, April 13th, at 5 PM in council chambers. Myself and Dennis Pollock were in attendance. Sherry Evanson was absent. Meeting was called to order at 5 PM. Item 2 is review the Engineering and Street Department monthly activity report, and those reports were reviewed. Item 3, review and consider removing the no parking restrictions on 3rd Street South from East Grand Avenue to Oak Street. Motion by Austin, second by Pollock to remove the no parking restrictions, and that motion carried 2-0. Item 4, review and consider modifying Chapter 33 Stormwater Management Utility to remove charges imposed for undeveloped parcels prescribed in 33.09 charge formulas number 4, undeveloped. Motion by Austin, second by Pollock to remove the charges imposed for undeveloped parcels. That motion carried 2-0. Item 5, review the 2022 MS4 annual report. The report was reviewed. Item 6, review the referral list. The referral list was reviewed and updated. Item 7 was set the next meeting date, and that meeting date will be set after the committee members have been determined. And item 8 was adjournment. And with that, I will submit the report of the Public Works Committee to council for approval.
And do we have a motion by Mr. Delaney?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. And seconded by Mr. Pollock. Any further discussion? Mr. Rayom.
Thank you. Number 3. I'm trying to get a handle, I guess. I thought I did, but now this is so people can park there? And just from East Grand to Oak Street, that one block. Has everybody taken a look at that? That corner just, there is a lot of traffic. And now to allow parking there, I don't know. I guess in my mind I have a question if that's the right thing to do. How wide will the lanes be, Joe? With the parking?
There's enough width there on the existing street to fit the 2 8-foot parking lanes on each side, and then the 2 travel lanes, which would be about 12 feet.
The question I have is, if there's considerable traffic, which there is, at times for sure, and that's going to be parallel parking, correct?
Yes, it would be parallel
2
parking.
8-foot lanes, or
Yep.
8-foot.
And it would be restricted from the intersections to not encroach on the vision triangles. So you could fit about 4 parking stalls on each side, and that would be about it.
Yeah. I just have a question that's with a lot of traffic and somebody trying to park, of traffic having to wait going on that 3rd Street. So other than increasing, I think you said 4 stalls on each side, what's the rationale to do that? Or what's the request?
The original request was to allow parking on just the east side on Sundays. And then in our review, looking at the width of the street, and the current configuration and everything, not sure why it was signed as no parking. Could be a legacy sort of situation that doesn't exist today. But at least in our review, we didn't find any reason not to allow parking, and then proposed it as, allowing parking then on both sides.
want to hold it out? Pretty good. For a separate vote?
Yeah, otherwise I was gonna vote, I'd vote down the whole thing. Yeah.
Everybody good with that? Okay. That was, yes. Okay, any further discussion on that balance of that report? So a motion is second to approve, holding out item 3. Seeing nothing else, I'm holding. Okay.
Sorry. That's okay. I'm ignoring you.
All right, please cast your ballots. Holding out 3. Okay, that motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. Regarding item 3. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
So, Joe, on 3rd Street, the block between Oak and Jackson, there's parking on both sides of the street. The street is the same width. It's consistent throughout. And have we had any issues with parking there?
Oh.
No, not that we're aware of, no.
But there is parking on both sides of the street there, correct?
Of Oak Street, yes. Yep.
On
No.
3rd,
3rd Street between Oak and Jackson.
by K&W
Oh.
Glass, by the bank.
Yes, yes, yep. Yeah, there is parking up there on both sides. No known issues.
Okay, thank you.
What are your wishes regarding this item?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the item as presented by Austin, seconded by Zacher. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 6 ayes, 1 nay. We are on to item C, which is the Human Resource Committee meeting held April 13th. Mr. Bemke.
Thank you, Mayor. Human Resource Committee met Thursday, April 13th in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. A list of other attendees is on file in the clerk's office. Item 1, the meeting was called to order at 2 p.m. Item 2, discuss and consider for approval the revision of City Hall hours to be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. This will begin a 6-month trial period to begin May 5th, 2023. Policies were reviewed regarding the implementation of the proposed changes in hours. There was a motion by Delaney, second by Rayom, to approve the revision of City Hall hours to be Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. This will be a 6-month trial period to begin on May 5th, 2023. Motion carried 3-0. The policies are in the packet. Item number 3, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19851E Wisconsin Stats, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public businesses whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. There was a motion by Rayom, seconded by Delaney, to go into closed session. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried 3-0. In closed session, the committee discussed negotiations and strategy regarding possible amendments to the provisions of the city's labor agreement with WRPPA and IAFF as a result of the revised qualifications for new hires in each of those departments. Item 4, the committee may return to open session to take action upon approval of the side letter of agreements between the city and IAFF and WRPPA. There was a motion by Rayom, seconded by Delaney, to move into open session. Motion carried 3-0. There was a motion by Bemke, seconded by Rayom, to approve the memorandum of understanding between the city and IAFF consistent with the terms presented regarding the new hires who do not have paramedic licensure, and also approve the pre-employment repayment agreement for new hires who do not have paramedic licensure. Motion carried 3-0. Again, there's an attachment. Item number 5 was adjournment. There was a motion by Delaney, seconded by Rayom. Motion carried 3-0. Meeting adjourned at 2:50 p.m. and I will submit that for approval. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
So we have a motion by Austin, seconded by Delaney. Mr. Zacher.
Can I hold out item 2, please? Can I hold out item 2, please?
Everyone good with that? Okay. Any additional comments or questions on the balance of the report? Seeing none. Please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. Mr. Zacher,
Just want to vote on it separate.
any discussion? Not, what are your wishes? So we have a motion by Bemke to approve as presented, seconded by Delaney. Last chance for any discussion. Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 6 ayes, 1 nay. We're on to item 8, reports of other committees, commission, boards, and department reports. What are your wishes? Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Motion to place on file.
Thank you. Nice job. Seconded by Veneman. Any discussion on any of the reports? Seeing none. What's that? Did you have something, Bemke? All right. Move on. All right, please. Try please casting your ballots. Oh. And delete. Benjamin. Please cast your ballots. All right. I guess all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. Item number 9, any referrals to committees? No. Okay, we're starting fresh next week. Item 10, the council may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E Wisconsin statute, which reads deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and section 19.85 parent 1 parent G of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral and written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respects to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. In closed session, the council may confer with legal counsel and discuss negotiations, litigation strategies regarding the wastewater services agreement with the Village of Buren. And item 11, the council will adjourn in closed session. What are your wishes? So we have a motion by Veneman, seconded by Bemke. Please cast your ballots. When the clerk's ready. Yep. So that motion carried 6 ayes, 1 nay. We will go into closed session.